Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and a commentary here from the Xel'Naga Caverns. We have Traukons spawning as the red Zerg player on the north side of Xel'Naga Caverns. Meanwhile, you have me spawning as the blue Terran player. A lot of you guys have been asking more of my own replays and just a little bit more of a commentary style as opposed to a play-by-play. So I will try to do more of a commentary style. However, this game is a couple days old, part of patch 1.1.2, so I don't remember all the details from this game as I'm watching this for the first time in a long time. And pretty much this is going to be part of the DGAAE build that I had talked about a lot earlier. And I really like this DGAAE build for Terran as it opens up a lot of one base play for Terran, similar to how Protoss has the 4-gate or how Zerg has Zergling or the 5-roach push. This particular build allows you to create a lot of units very, very early on, around the 8 or 9 minute game mark, and try to move out with those units. Back over in this base, you now see Traukons continuing to just build up and now getting up to 13/18 food. I will be focusing a little bit more on me in this particular matchup just because I want to talk about this build, but I also will discuss a little bit about about the build that Traukon uses. Traukon does open up, I believe, with a 5-roach push. And now that roaches have a range of 4 instead of a range of 3, it gives roaches and it gives Terran players a little bit more of a difficult time, I think, in the early portion of the game, trying to figure out how they want to design this wall off on the front side of their base. If they wall off using supply depots with one main building, then they will be very, very susceptible to get pushed by banelings. However, if you try to use a barracks, like a factory and a barracks, what you'll end up finding happening is that roaches will be able to get into this position here and be able to take down these key buildings and before you're even able to walk down this ramp. So I think Terran players have a little bit more of a difficult time trying to do a wall off now that this game is moving on. You're going to see this one drone now come in from Traukons. Traukons moving in with this drone will be able to walk up this ramp in just a moment. I think the timing on the supply depot is absolutely perfect. Place down the supply depot and then this drone is forced to run all the way around in order to get back out, and he will not be able to, so I quickly kill that scouting drone there. So a little bit of a lucky move in terms of timing. Now, taking a look back into the base of the Zerg player did open up with the spawning pool, and he has a couple of Zerglings now chasing down this one SCV. SCV moves slightly slower than those Zerglings, but the SCV will be able to return all the way home without any real issue. They're constantly getting pecked apart a little bit, and now we'll be able to try to make it back. We do see 2 Marines on this front door, so 2 Marines generally enough to try to hold off anything. Because he saw supply depots being placed down, he knows that banelings would have been an option, or even roaches, depending on how I position my buildings. You're going to see the roaches come in just a moment, and a very, very strong 5-roach push coming in just a moment as well. You see a barracks now being placed down, 2 barracks, in addition to, I believe I'm going to set up a ghost academy in just a moment, and now trying to just get a strong economy running off of 2 gas. So taking a look at the harvester count, I am able, because I have more harvesters, able to mine more gas and more minerals at this stage in the game. It looks like he is currently just trying to do a 5-roach push. He was saving up larvae in order to push with roaches instead of trying to deal any significant damage there. You can see that there are currently 3 barracks currently being built, and I guess I do not have a Ghost Academy yet. Ghost Academy is one of those tech buildings that take relatively little time to build. It is a little bit off the beaten path in terms of the standard tech building, but it only takes 40 units of time to build, so it is a very, very fast tier 2 building. And now with 3 racks, I will be able to train up Ghost in just a moment, and now you see roaches making their way out across the map. Roaches do move relatively slowly, same speed as a Marine and a Marauder without stim. However, his army is significantly larger than mine. He has Zerglings ready to run up that ramp, and he wants to deal a lot of damage towards my main buildings here. He will be able to pick off this tech lab here as I'm trying to get additional buildings, trying to reinforce against any banelings that I think may be coming in. He now moves in an Overlord and will be able to gain sight onto this tech lab. So that tech lab now taking a lot of damage from these roaches, and now you can see because of this wall in positioning, is this going to be fairly difficult for me to get any real damage off. However, able to take down 1 roach. He will be able to take down 1 Marauder as well. And now those roaches are going to try to walk up that ramp. I am getting 1 ghost, no Zerglings running by, as I will have concussive shells, and now replacing that tech lab down. trying to make sure that any roaches that try to push in will have a very difficult time. His army now currently double the size of my army, and now I am trying to train up more Hellions as well. Production-wise, you can see Hellions, Marauders, Marines, and trying to get that combat shield. And now you also getting a Ghost trying to come down this position here, trying to walk down this ramp, trying to also making sure that if these roaches try to push in, they're going to have a little bit of a difficult time trying to use those concussive shells, raising up that supply depot at that last second, and now also using a couple snipes in order to get a lot of damage dealt across those units very, very quickly. However, he was able to get a lot of damage onto my supply depot as well, so I will be forced to try to bring over some SCVs and continue to repair. We now see him going into tier 2, so his tier 2 buildings will be coming in just a moment. But my army now, and because I am running off of 3 production buildings, I will get a stronger and stronger economy. So you remember, this is all currently off of one base as I'm training up Hellions production, training up Hellions, Marauders, and Marines, and just more units, trying to push out even further, trying to stay on top of my macro, still supply locked or nearly supply locked. Need to build another supply depot in just a second. However, these Marauders and Hellions are able to push out relatively easily, and now with those concussive shells, I'm able to just rack up a lot of damage across all of my units here. You do see that I have one Ghost in this party, and this Ghost has been used to just try to snipe as many roaches as possible. So that one Ghost trying to snipe roaches taking the full 45 damage. And in theory, you would think that that is not, that it isn't really worthwhile. However, because you're able to snipe the roach maybe once or twice, and then the Marauders are able to really clean up those units very quickly. So you can see, I do believe I sniped. No, I do not do any additional snipe. There are more roaches here than I have units. However, more reinforcements coming in, trying to deal more damage. Also focus firing on those roaches. So units firing back and forth, the roaches are able to deal a lot of damage, and now with those concussive shells, I'm able to pick apart even more of those roaches once again. So more units now coming in. My army size is at 500, a couple of roaches, a couple of Hellions as well, as these units are now starting to make their way up to the north side, getting more Ghost. And now you're going to see him try to lay down a hatchery. Because he gets a hatchery, I know for a fact that he does not have as large of an army as I do, being forced to spend 300 minerals on that. I do place down a command center over here as we are moving into the stage 2 of the game. Taking a look at the losses, you can see that he has lost more units, and I believe I am also still harvesting more minerals. 31 harvesters compared to 21. I know that his economy is rather weak because he's been forced to just get a lot of roaches and a lot of Zerglings. He wants to be able to power drone, but he hasn't really been able to so far into this game. I'm now going to be coming back with a stronger army. You do also see one Overseer trying to make its way out across. However, it will quickly get shot down as well. Marines and Ghosts trying to get underneath it, able to shoot it down as his command center nearing completion. We do have the hatchery has been completed, and now his army, about half the size of mine, is what Hellions trying to pull away, trying to get as much splash damage across more of those units. Now using those Marauders, now getting more snipes across more of those units once again, trying to get a lot of high yield damage onto those high hit point roaches. I do still have one Ghost. However, that Ghost was taken down. 2 Marauders, able to finish off that last roach there, and now Traukons is in trouble. I am getting additional reinforcements. 1 Hellion, 1 Marauder, 2 Marines, 1 Ghost, the standard of the DGAAE build. Able to finish off this hatchery, and I know I will also have an economic lead as I'm able to start mining out of this location as well. So trying to finish off this hatchery, I know that no units will be able to come down that easily. And I'm also building a starport. I also have a starport up with a medevac now being trained. So now trying to transition into tier 3 and getting that site onto that high ground. Taking down this hatchery will give me a little bit of an advantage in just a second. However, Broodlings now making their way out. I will take some damage. However, the Hellion getting a lot of splash damage across those units. I want to make sure to also take down any of those larvae as well, as I don't want units coming in from behind to try to deal damage towards me. We have 3 roaches and 1 spine crawler on this front door, trying to offer more protection. 1 medevac in the air, just healing up the rest of these units. And these Marauders and Marines should have been able to push up very, very easily. I do a quick scanner sweep, and I realize that there is 1 spine crawler. I don't want to deal with that spine crawler. If there was more static defense, this would make more sense, but I'm going to trade 1 nuke in order to take care of this spine crawler. More of a tactical game, and taking down this spine crawler will prevent him from being able to have any really standard defense here, and then I will be able to simply walk up this ramp with a very, very strong army indeed. Hellions now making their way out. Hellions trying to pull back. We'll be able to deal more damage towards those Zerglings, and Ghost now getting some more snipes off. and just able to pick apart all of these roaches once again. Roaches trying to re-engage, however, they will quickly get taken down. This queen over here also getting sniped as well. And the queen has, having a lot of hit points. And because it is not armored, I want to make sure that I snipe it, enabling me to deal a lot of damage towards that unit there. And then Traukons says GG. So a 1v1 replay, a little bit one-sided now that I review it. Traukons didn't have the economy that I was able to support just because he went for that early 5 roach push. The 5 roach push is generally strong on this particular map just because as a Terran player, you really want to be able to wall off your front door. Now that roaches have a range of 4, it is very easy for roaches to be able to come into this position. If perhaps the factory was here and then the barracks was here, like a lot of Terran players like to do in order to make sure that they have 2 heavy hit point buildings at the front of their door, the roaches wouldn't have been able to engage these buildings and deal damage towards them without taking any damage back unless I wanted to lower my supply depots and try to engage them. That would have made me very, very far behind, as his army was double the size of my army at that stage in the game. I didn't have enough marauders, I didn't have enough ghosts in order to snipe, but luckily, because of the positioning here, if he had gone Banelings, I think Banelings would have been a much more difficult proposition. True, I would have had Hellions in order to try to counteract the Zerglings as soon as they came in, but the amount of micro that I would have needed in order to deal with Banelings and Zerglings would have been a little bit much. Hellions are also light units right now, and I think that's one of the issues where Terran has a little bit of a difficulty trying to counter Zerg, and if either they need to counter the 5 roach push or that Baneling bust, and you really need superior micro in order to be able to handle that simple, as opposed to roaches who can simply attack move. Same thing with Banelings. Banelings just suicide into the door. Zerglings come in, run around. A surrounded Hellion, even though Hellion is stronger, is supposed to be able to counter Zerglings, a surrounded Hellion will quickly get taken down by a lot of Zerglings. Anyways, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I have one more example of the DGAAE build, and yeah, thanks for watching so far.